Hey, what's going on, Comic Core? I'm Drew Manchu, and welcome to Drew Manchu's Comic Book Reviews, the Comic Core's official reviews. I got some coffee. I'm ready to talk some X-Men number 9. But before I get into X-Men number 9, we're in the middle of a story arc, so I'm going to have to go back and catch you guys up on just a little bit of history.
We have to go back!
Where? Back to the future!
All the way back in Giant Size X-Men number 1 in May of 1975, Dave Cockrum and Len Wein took Professor Charles Xavier and had him round up a brand new team of X-Men. Some of the mainstays that we love today: Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus. And basically he got them together to save his original team from the sentient island of Krakoa. This actually wasn't the first team, it was the second team he sent, but we're not going to really get into that. The original X-Men were trapped on Krakoa, and he sent this new team in to save them. And recently, Jonathan Hickman has brought Krakoa back through the insights of Moira X's retcon resurrection powers. Charles has gathered lifetimes worth of intel, and he chose to make that same island, Krakoa, his mutant base of operations for the war to come with the machines and post-humanity. Everything's different with the X-Men under Hickman. They all die and they're reborn all the time. There are enemies emerging on all sides, but every mutant on Krakoa is having a hedonism dance party where the Molly just kicked in. And the Krakoan flower-based pharmaceuticals gave the mutants leverage in the international economy, have spawned a new global drug war. In this tumultuous environment, of course, the New Mutants decided it was a great time to hitch a ride with Cyclops' space pirate daddy and the Starjammers, and they f***ed off into space. They met up with their buddy Cannonball, they did some missions for the Shi'ar, and along the way they brought back a souvenir, a small trinket of space junk, or so everyone thought, until Brew came to visit. Who's Brew, you ask? Well, first appearing in Astonishing X-Men number 40 by Christos Gage, and becoming far more fleshed out through the pages of Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men, Brew was abandoned by the Horde because he had a sense of compassion and was seen as an abomination to the Brood. He subsequently protected the X-Men from a Brood Queen, lost his connection to the hive mind, and was taken in by the mutants. His enrollment in the Jean Grey school showed him as a normal teenager with crushes and social anxieties, and he's a pretty cool character, so check out the Wolverine and the X-Men run. You will not be disappointed, one of my favorite runs of all time. So Brew shows up and he sees the space junk, and he knows that it's not junk at all, it's a Brood King egg. All of the Brood in the galaxy are drawn to the King Egg, and soon Krakoa is swarming with a Brood invasion. The X-Men fight as valiantly against the endless waves of alien bugs until it becomes apparent that they need to get the King Egg as far away as possible. So they take it and blast off into space, heading for the Shi'ar Empire. This brings us to X-Men issue number 9, and it begins with the origin of the King Egg. When the Kree Empire first encountered the Brood, they saw an opportunity. The Brood are a matriarchal system of factional queens and dueling hives. But if the Kree could genetically seed the hive with a biological control, they could weaponize the Horde. They produced the King Egg, a patriarchal element that would seize control of the entire society, and allowed them to be used to disrupt other advanced civilizations. Now the Kree have the Starjammers hostage, interrogating them about where the egg is. This conduct has alerted the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, and the X-Men are racing away from Earth with the egg. And everyone is set on a collision course. As the Kree Accuser is squeezing info out of Corsair, Gladiator and the Imperial Guard bursts in and makes short work of him, just in time to see the X-Jet, with the entirety of the Brood on their tail, go zooming by the space station, crashing to the planet below. The Brood, following blindly, smash right through the station itself, sending everyone tumbling to the surface of the planet. On the planet's surface, out of the wreckage, the X-Men fight on. Joined by the might of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard and the swashbuckling Starjammers, they fight as hard as they can against the unrelenting force of the Brood. Jean scans the Horde, and she notes that they've been driven to madness by fear. That their entire existence is being threatened. Their power in the balance. The Queen's fear becoming drones by the King Egg, so they seek to destroy it, and they'll kill anyone and anything that gets in their way. Farther and farther underground, our heroes retreat from this tidal wave of vicious insectoids, fighting back to back, and just as the Horde is about to take them, just as they're about to meet their fate, the Brood stops. they begin to retreat. But this shouldn't be happening. The Brood are of a single hive mind, relentless in their purpose. They're all wondering just exactly what's going on when Corsair stops and asks, "Where is the king egg?" And they all turn around to see that Brew has eaten the king egg. That Brew is the new Brood King. You guys, I really dug this issue of X-Men, and it's not just because I'm an X-Men fanatic. It's because they've done so much to bring so much continuity from previous X-Men into this run. We've got Brew, who showed up in Astonishing, was a big part of Wolverine and the X-Men. We got Kid Gladiator as well, who was a big part of Wolverine and the X-Men. And I'm happy to see both of them together. They didn't interact too much, but I love both of those characters. I love that run, and I want to see more of them interacting together, and hopefully we'll get that in subsequent issues. We get a really great infographic on the Brood King egg and how it works and how eating the serum inside makes you the Brood King. That's pretty easy to understand there. And Brew is in control. But it is also said that there can be a rival king egg created, so we might have a Brood feud by the time this is all said and done. Great action in issue number 8 with Magic and the heroes of Krakoa fighting off the Brood, and fantastic action in this issue as well, as you get Havoc and Vulcan teaming up with Cyclops. They get the Starjammers in there, as well as the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. The beginning of the book was a really cool look at the Kree Empire and why they thought this was a good idea in the first place, and it kind of all makes sense in the end. This also takes the opportunity to tie in Jonathan Hickman's run on New Mutants, which was kind of separate from X-Men and the whole of what's going on with this narrative, but it really makes a lot more sense now that we've gotten this story following it. Lenil Francis Yu's line work is absolutely immaculate in this issue, and the cover is a really great homage to Giant Size X-Men number 1, which we talked about earlier, with the Shi'ar Guard and the Starjammers bursting out of the page underneath the X-Men lineup. Just about any time we can call back to Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men, I'll be super happy with the continuity. The only thing this book is missing is Quentin Quire and Dupe, and it would be just in line with how great that title was from beginning to end. I can't recommend it enough. As far as X-Men number 9 as a single issue, I think it serves the arc perfectly. I think the art is really good, and there's a lot of really great writing and prose in this as well. The description of the mindset of the Brood is really well written, and there's some really cool dialogue in here between the Accuser, Corsair, and Roberto. Great action, great writing, great art, great service of the arc. I think that this one right here, it's a 5 out of 5, man. This X-Men title has kind of been up and down, as it's been a snapshot of the world more so than it's been individual story arcs, but this seems to be a little bit of a twist on that. I'm really enjoying it, and I think that you guys would be too if you were reading it. So go out, pick up X-Men number 9, give it a shot. Make sure you read X-Men number 8 beforehand in the first arc of the New Mutants. It's, you know, it's very continuity heavy, but I think that if you just read 8 and 9, you'll get a gist of what's going on with it, and you'll have a really good time with it, guys.